Everybody, I'm going to be showing y'all how to access Zoom, which is a way that you're going to be able to connect with your life groups or your D groups virtually during this hiatus, and so that we can stay connected with one another. And so I'm going to be showing y'all how to access Zoom, sign up and create an account for Zoom, and then I'm going to show you how to host a meeting. And so this is available on obviously, I'm on a desktop browser, but you can also get this on your mobile device. It's available on Apple App Store, or it's also available on the Google Play Store, whichever one you want to do. But for the purpose of this video and showing you how to set up a meeting, I'm going to show it to you through this desktop. So basically, open up a browser. This is in Safari. And so just go to zoom.us. You don't have to write .com. Just write zoom.us and it'll bring you here. And so the first thing we need to do is we need to create an account. And so you'll notice right here it says sign up, it's free. Now for the majority of the people, that's going to work just fine. But for now, let me show you one other thing. Now this is going to pertain mostly to the leaders of either your life group or your D group. So if you're just a member of those and you're not worried about hosting a meeting, then you don't have to really worry about this part. I'm going to show you how to sign up free for your account, but this is for the leaders. And I'm going to want to draw your attention to the basic package and the pro package. And basically the only difference between these two is that you'll notice the free package has a 40-minute limit time on group meetings, whereas the $15 a month package gives you a 24-hour meeting duration time limit. And so what that means is if you have this basic free account and you start let's just say you're going to start your D group, meeting through Zoom, and you have a free account and you're the leader. If your D group gets to 40 minutes, it's going to stop and it's just going to cut everybody off, just like hanging up a phone call basically. And so, that's one option, but you have to be conscientious of knowing that you only have 40 minutes once you get going. Whereas this pro package gives you 24 hours for each meeting. You don't necessarily have to be so stingy about, moving through your Bible study or your life group at a good clip. And so, one thing I would say is that this may be better for smaller D groups where there will be maybe, less interaction or just people who have quicker meetings. This is going to be probably more geared towards our larger life groups at North Park, maybe some of those larger adult life groups with 30 or 40 members in them. And so what I'll say about that is I know it's $15 a month for you life group leaders, or even for some of you D group members, or leaders, excuse me. But notice that it's only $15 a month. And with that being said, it's not contractual. And what I mean by that is that once you pay this $15, you're going to get that for the next month. Once you go to pay for it, it's not going to lock you into $15 a month for the next 12, 18, 24 months. It's just going to let you do it per month. And the reason that I tell you that is because we don't exactly know how long this coronavirus hiatus may last. It could be a month before we get to meet and fellowship and worship again together face to face, and it could be 2, but it very well could be 3 or 4. And that's not to alarm anybody, but that's just to say, knowing that information, let's say the hiatus only lasts for a month and we get to all meet and greet and congregate again at North Park physically, face-to-face. Well, you're only out $15 a month. You're not going to have to pay the next 11 months. You're not locked into any sort of contract. And so that's really the benefit of that is, I know it's $15, but, that's really a small price to pay to avoid, having 30 or 40 or maybe even 50 members in a Zoom meeting, and then you get to 40 minutes and it just cuts out everybody. That's going to be tough to try to get all those people back into another Zoom meeting so that you can finish your D group or your life group. Whereas with this, you get 24 hours. You don't really have to be so concerned about the time limit, because chances are your life group's not going to last a whole day. And if it does, well, then that's awesome. Let us know. Okay, so coming back out to this main screen, For most people, it's going to be sign up, it's free. So you're going to click on that, and it's going to prompt a page like this. And you can either sign up, you can register your account either with an email, with a Google account, or with a Facebook account. And, once you do that, you can type in, something like whatever your email may be, and then you'll hit sign up right here. And basically, it's going to prompt just about the same sort of circumstances that you see for anything you sign up with, whether that's Facebook or Instagram or Google. It's going to take you through setting up a password, and then maybe you have to verify your email. But I'm going to imagine that basically everyone has done that once in their life, and that's pretty straightforward. So I'm going to go ahead and open up Google because I already have my Zoom account open over here. And so I'm going to come over here, and once you get registered, this is kind of what your account is going to look like. Now, knowing that, you're going to see that you see host a meeting and join a meeting. And for life group leaders and D group leaders, we're going to be focusing on hosting a meeting. But for just members of a D group or members of a life group, you're going to look at join a meeting. But I don't really want you to focus in on this button right here, because there's going to be a much simpler way for you to join your life group or your D group meetings. And so right now, let's just focus on the leaders hosting a meeting. When you host a meeting, you're going to want to do that with video on. And all you do is if you just drag your cursor and let it rest on top host a meeting, it'll prompt this slide down bar where you see with video off, with video on, and screen share only. You're going to want to do that with video on so that when people join the Zoom meeting, they're able to see your face. Now, I'm going to say that again because I'm going to do something differently. When you host your life group Zoom or your D group Zoom, you want to do that with your video on. Okay? But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to do it with my video off so that no one has to see me. So when you click host a meeting with video on, you're going to see something like this. And chances are you don't have this downloaded onto your computer, so nothing is going to prompt, and it's just going to say launching ... and it's just going to say this stuff down here. Draw your attention right here. You're going to want to click download and run Zoom. Now when you click that, it's going to shoot down here. If you're in Google Chrome, it's going to come down here and it's going to say Zoom. Now if you're in Safari though, this is Chrome, this is Safari. If you're in Safari, when you click that, it's going to you're going to see a little motion, and it's going to come up to this little drop down arrow. And you'll just click on that, and when you click on that, it'll drop down a list. It'll drop down a list right about here, and you'll see the same thing. You'll see Zoom. So I want you to click on that, and it'll prompt this page. When you come here, you just go ahead and hit continue. And I know when you get to this page, it's going to kind of look like things are frozen because you can't click anything, but just give it a second, be patient. It will just do things on its own. And so you'll notice that Zoom just prompted down here on my taskbar. And so now that I've successfully created an account, and now that I have Zoom downloaded on my computer, now we can really get into the nuts and bolts of hosting and being a part of a Zoom meeting. And so I'm going to sign in first. Sign in, and this is what you're going to see. I'm going to go ahead and delete this because this was an example, and I'm going to show you how to get that there. Now this is really for life group leaders and D group leaders. If you're a member of a life group or a D group, and I've said this, but if you're a member and you're watching this video, these are a lot of unnecessary steps that you're going to have to do. For you, it's going to be much easier, and I'll show you how to do that. But basically all these steps that I just walked you through up until this point, you're not really going to have to worry about much besides creating an account and making sure you have Zoom, making sure you download it like this. Now for you leaders, here's what you're going to do. When you get here, you're going to schedule a meeting, and you're going to notice this is going to prompt. Okay, so you can title it whatever you want to. Probably the best thing would be to do is, life group, I don't, I'll just, since I'm in the college life group, I'll just put college life group if I'm leading that. And maybe I'll put, maybe I'll put the date, which would be, whatever, 3. I'm thinking about it too long. But whatever, you can put the date outside, whatever you want to do. And then you're going to want to make sure you're on the right day. Oh, look at that. It's the 22nd. So I can type that up there now that I don't have to think about it so much. So 3/22/2020. And you don't have to do that. That's just something to keep people on track to know, okay, this is for this Sunday or it's for next Sunday. Okay, so create a title for it. And then right here, you're going to actually be setting the time and day of your meeting. So like I said, click on here and it'll prompt a little calendar. Make sure you pick the right date. This upcoming Sunday will be March 22nd, so you're going to want to click there. For your time, obviously you're not going to do life group at 6 p.m. Chances are you won't do it at 2 a.m. either. So you can come in here and you can do it at, it will only prompt, you'll see 9 and 9:30. It gives you every 30-minute increment, but I'm going to show you a secret. If you click up here, you can type 15. So if you want the 15, whoa, we don't want that. Let me go back in here. If you want the 15, you can type the 15. But for this purpose, sorry, let me retype this. College Life Group for 3/22/2020. It's going to be on the 22nd. I'm just going to be, for the purpose of this video, I'll just put 9:30 because we play an icebreaker at the beginning, so we get going about 9:30 anyways. And for, this is when it starts, this is when it's going to end. This isn't as necessary, especially if you have that pro account that you can have a 24-hour meeting. Obviously, just make sure it's if you have the free account, there's no reason to set it any farther out than an hour because you can only be on there for 40 minutes like I showed you. But if you have a pro account, just make sure it's not within an hour. Maybe just do an hour and a half or 2 hours ahead. So on this one I'll put, and it won't even let you, it will make you at least do 30 minutes into the future until it ends. So maybe just do an hour, whatever you want to do. It doesn't really matter because once you're done with your life group, I'll show you how it's much easier to end a meeting. And so you're going to put that. If I wouldn't hit recurring meeting right now because, like I said, we don't really know how long this hiatus will last, and we don't really know how long we're going to be utilizing this. So I wouldn't worry about this. I would just individually create each life group or D group meeting. Now you're going to come down here to meeting ID. You're going to want to put generate automatically. You don't want to do personal meeting because that's going to get confusing for the members trying to join. Just do generate automatically. For the password, you're going to want to uncheck that. Having a password on there really is only going to create some confusion for the people who are going to try to join your life group or D group meeting. And although it seems straightforward, maybe if I put the password at today's date, there's been some, or Sunday's date, there's been some issues with that password actually being the password. So my suggestion is to just leave it off and don't have a password. Now when you get to video, for the host, you want your video on. For participants, you want your video on. For audio, you want to do telephone and computer audio because people are going to have the, if you don't have a smartphone and you don't have a desktop that has a microphone built in, people are going to be able to call in and listen. So make sure both of those are connected so both options for members are available. For calendar, you can set that up how you want to if you want to add it to your iCloud calendar or your Google calendar, or however you want to do that. But this is important. If you'll see advanced options at the bottom of this page, you're going to want to click down on that. And there's a few things you want to check in here. You don't really care about the waiting list, but you want to click this, enable join before host. That way, if you're the host and, we all have something that may come up right before we're getting ready to start and we don't get our computer set up and on 15 minutes before like we want to, this is just basically saying that people can join the meeting before you get there. And then one other thing is I would go ahead and mute participants upon entry. That way, when people get in there, it's not very loud and there's not a ton of feedback. And so I'm going to go ahead and hit schedule. And you'll notice that it'll prompt that to put on whatever calendar you want to. I wish it would pop up right there, but you'll see if it's for a good bit in the future, like if you schedule your meeting tomorrow on Wednesday, March 18th for Sunday, March 22nd, you'll see it sitting here. And basically it'll just say, college D group 3/22/2020 start, and you'll just hit start. And when you hit start, it's going to look like this. Okay, so once you get in there, you're going to want to join with computer audio. I don't know why that's taking a second. And I'm going to go ahead and stop my video right now. But this is basically what the meeting will look like. And so you'll see that you can go full screen or you can exit full screen, whichever way you want to do. And here's where I will start making my recommendations on how to make your life group or how to make your D group as simple and as easy as it can be without many interruptions. And so if you're a life group leader or a D group leader, you can hit invite. And so you have all, you can do your contacts or you can do it through email. Now I'll show you how to get to this a different way. But here's how I would do it. I would hit invite, like I did down here, invite. And then I would go to the email side and I would hit copy URL. Okay, once you copy that, you kind of have the meeting. Now, in terms of actually being in this, you'll notice you'll only see my name in here because I'm the only one inside of this meeting right now. But obviously right here, you can start and stop your video. If I click this, my video will go on. I'm not going to do that. Here's where you can mute and unmute yourself. And so I'm not going to mute myself because obviously then you wouldn't be able to hear me. But the way that I showed you how to set the meeting up, most people are going to come in muted, and nobody's going to be able to hear them. And the reason I tell you that is because if you get, if your life group is 20 or 30 or 40 or who even knows 50 people in a group, and you get in here and everyone is unmuted, and so everybody's audio's going, and you just have someone, it takes just the smallest amount of noise for that audio to start playing through your speakers. And so maybe somebody has a dog outside that's barking, and another member has, the neighbor mowing their grass, or somebody riding by with really loud music. When 20 or 25, 30 people have that much noise going on in the background, it becomes a major distraction for the life group leader or for that D group leader. And so that's why I would suggest when we were setting that meeting up to mute everybody. Now, when you set the meeting up though, and people start joining, I would direct their attention to show them that their mute button is right down here in the bottom left-hand corner, and they can click it and they can unclick it. And so I would let them know that they have that option, but advise them that for it to be the most seamless meeting and for it to have the least amount of interruptions, I would do everybody muted. And that's especially for live groups. For D groups, that's a little differently because you only have 4 or 5 people, and with a D group, you need a lot of interaction. And so for that, you're probably going to have everybody unmuted. But for live groups, some classes do more of a lecture style live group. Some have more Q&A, more response. And so I would just direct people's attention to show that this is where you can mute and unmute yourself. And then you as your life group leader, you can really decide whether you want a ton of people talking back to you or you don't want a ton of people talking back to you. And even if you do want people talking to you, you can just tell people, when you're ready to talk, unmute yourself. And when you're done talking, mute yourself. That way you don't have a ton of people on there with 500 devices, and you just get this awful feedback from the neighbor's dog and the grass cutting outside and music and just who knows, maybe it'll be raining that day. There's just a ton of variables that can go into making a really disruptive meeting. And so if it were me hosting a meeting, I would say let's mute everybody in life group. And if you have something that you want to add, or there's something that the Holy Spirit is leading you to say to the rest of the group, then I would just unmute myself, say what I need to say, and then mute myself back. That way there's not a ton of people who are unmuted and creating a bunch of feedback. I'll also offer this as a little bit of advice. If you have multiple people in your life group or your D group that are from the same household that are going to be in the same meeting, I would recommend that however many people are in that group, just join that meeting with one device. And so obviously you can see I'm Joseph Blaylock, and when I go to join the college ministries life group Sunday morning, it's going to be me and Joshua at my house. And instead of me and Joshua both individually getting on both of our mobile devices or both of our MacBooks, we're just going to use one. That way, that also cuts down on the feedback and the chances that there is just a large amount of disruptions. And so, all this other stuff down here, I would not share your screen with anybody else. Also, you can give people the clap. Maybe, I know David Osborne's teaching my life group this week. Maybe I like what he says, but I don't really want to say anything, so I give him great job. Amen, David. We appreciate you. And so that's basically how you, that's basically kind of the gist of running a meeting. So I'm going to hit end meeting for all, and you'll notice that just takes me back to this page. Now, that's what I was talking about earlier. When you schedule a meeting, not to really worry about when the end time of the meeting is, because once you're done, whoever the host of that meeting is can just hit end meeting for all, and everybody in the call will get dropped out. And so that's kind of it. Other than that, if you're a member, I do need to say this. If you're a member and you're not a leader, and you are just getting a text or an email that is for you to join your life group or D group, it is super, super simple. Basically, you will get a text message or an email, however your life group leader sends it out. Like we said, this is just an example again. We're scheduling a meeting. Let's just put it for right here in advance so I can show you again. And I'm not going to mess with all this. I'm just going to schedule it so I can show you how to invite people. You're going to schedule it. And this is what I was talking about. It has start, you click this button, you have copy invitation, edit, delete, or join from a room. This is for life group leaders. Copy that invitation, and I will just show you what this looks like when you copy an invitation. Let me pull up Microsoft Word real quick. So if you're a member of a D group or a life group, here is what you are going to see. When someone sends you an invitation. This is a text message or an email that you're going to get. Okay, so it's just this simple. You'll see, and you'll notice I just quickly auto-populated this for this. So this is for literally 6 minutes into the future. But if you're a member, you're going to get a text message or an email, and it's going to say this. And you'll be able to see, okay, this is Joseph Blaylock's Zoom meeting. And, or it may say Barry Goggins life group or Jonathan Edwards life group, and it'll show it's for March 22nd at 9:15, which is usually when we do life groups. And then you'll see join Zoom meeting. Now, because I opened this up in a Word document, it's different. But when you get this text message, this right here is going to be highlighted in blue, and that's going to be an indication that you can click on that link. When you click on that, if you haven't already downloaded Zoom, it's going to prompt you to download it. Refer back to the beginning of this video to see how to do that. If you already have it downloaded, it's going to take you straight into your meeting. Notice that even when you set up a meeting without a password, chances are it's still going to say password right here. Just disregard that. It's not going to worry about it. And for people who are, confused or have any other questions, feel free to reach out to Stephen Hall or Ryan Christmas or myself, Joseph Blaylock, and we'll be able to help you with whatever you need to help with. But that's just kind of a short video on how to access the Zoom software, how to create an account, how to host a meeting, and how to join a meeting.